Airlines tell us that they're under financial pressure. But in a world where humans are getting bigger, why are seats shrinking? We decided 4 hours was more than enough time on board American Airlines Boeing 777 to see just how uncomfortable the economy seat is. And also flying in first class from Charlotte to Los Angeles. So you can compare the other end of the scale at the front of the plane. Welcome to LAX. We're flying with American Airlines from here in economy over to Charlotte. I must have lost my mind because having arrived into LAX, this is my 7th flight over the last week, after trying to get around the entire world only on the Airbus A380. So forgive me if my creative juice pot is a little bit on the empty side. I would have happily just gone for a burger at the famous airplane restaurant you've all seen on Instagram, or just relax in the hotel room. But I saw an opportunity to retain my status with Oneworld Airlines and fly an American's best/worst business class product. Here's a spoiler: some rows face the window while others don't, and that's just awkward. Just before we head to the lounge, it's worth pointing out that LAX is a little bit of a mess at the minute. Construction work has been going on for what seems like years, and the airport has suddenly decided to renumber their terminals. Unless it's changed by the time this video airs, then today's flight will depart from Terminal 4, and if you're flying internationally like we will be tomorrow back to London, then that's from Tom Bradley International Terminal, which is right on the end. For those who have status, or if you're just interested, here's a quick tour of the American Airlines lounge. Not all the same in the US, but this one's pretty good. There's a healthy selection of food and sweets, and there's plenty of seating. Although it's pretty quiet because originally when I flew, it was 6 in the morning and the water wasn't working. The corridor to the bathrooms features historic advertising pieces, and if you're lucky enough to be travelling internationally in first class, there's even a separate dining area just for you. I'm already assuming that despite being a 4-hour flight, there won't be any real food offering, so a quick cup of tea and a banana and I'll grab whatever I can in Charlotte. Today's flight will cover a distance of 2,115 miles, taking about 4 hours and 55 minutes. I do love that the route has a widebody airplane. Having been up since 4 AM, I'm not really in the mood for the seat, and just praying that someone next to me has not very wide shoulders. After much thinking, I only booked the flight a few weeks ago. Had done more research and been a bit better with the timing, I could have got a better seat. Business class is in an odd backwards-forwards layout that occupies the first 10 rows, followed by 3 rows of premium economy, which had I known better, I probably could have sat here. Economy starts on row 17 in a 242 layout, before suddenly and rather unpleasantly becomes a dense 343. Sadly, this used to be a good reason to fly an Airbus airplane, because typically they're slightly smaller in width, except for the A380, but even Airbus recently was pushing its seat manufacturers to densify their 333 layout, with an extra seat in the middle. Yuck. On the positive, my legs aren't touching the seat in front, but it was a struggle to get out when needing the bathroom, even when the seat in front wasn't reclined. The seat pitch to the seat in front is 31 inches, which is reasonable for economy. But it's the width at 17 inches which makes this so uncomfortable. I'm pretty average in height, so measure the width of my shoulders and bearing in mind I have to share the armrest with the person next to me, I'm over 18 inches. And now you see the issue. The seats otherwise are pretty standard, but when I sat down there was something bugging me, and that's the height. It's great for the environment because of the weight saving, but the seats are quite short. Unfortunately, it was too dark outside to record the takeoff, so we'll skip straight ahead to the safety video and then on to the in-flight entertainment.
All larger electronic devices are put away, carry-ons are placed all the way under the seat in front of you, and your tray table is stowed. Larger carry-on luggage goes in the overhead bin. If you have a handheld device, please switch it to airplane mode now.
I'm not exactly sure how old these seats are, but American Airlines decided that 9 inches was plenty. The remote for the in-flight entertainment makes you think these are either bought with a discount or they're older than they look, because looking to their rival Delta now have 11 inches as a standard on the IFE, on their newer A330neos. Ignoring that lights in the cabin are as bright as they can be, the screen is good quality, and given the seat pitch, it's large enough. Content-wise, this is America, so I'd have been really disappointed if it wasn't good. Naturally, there are plenty of popular favourites and an abundance of movies. Apparently, there was food to purchase, but I didn't manage to find out where you can view it. Passengers are offered a pack of complimentary Biscoff biscuits, and there is a choice of drink. If you're not from the US, just be aware that a tea doesn't typically come with milk or sugar. I have flown this before with Brent to New York City, and I reckon that departure time plays a big difference. When you're tired, you just want to lie down in a proper bed. I noticed that more than half the passengers on the flight just wanted to sleep, but that's easier said than done when you're forced to sit upright. Naturally, I'm hungry, having only eaten a banana about 5 or so hours ago, so I'm off to find the American Airlines lounge. This is pretty cute, the natural trees and the rocking chairs, what a good idea. Now, lounge access doesn't come as standard, but I'm using British Airways One World Emerald status, and that will get me into the lounge. Don't be too jealous, the Admiral's Lounge at Charlotte is not one of my favourites. It has tall walls and dark mahogany, but compared to other lounges, it's nothing special. In some ways, it's just a lot of comfortable seats, and it needs that because there must have been over 300 people in the lounge. The snacks are quite good, and I do like dried banana. And I was surprised to see chicken Caesar sandwiches, which are delicious. I mustn't eat too much though, because I'm about to be fed on the return journey back to LAX. So the lounge is quite reasonable. It's not the most modern in the world, and the one in Los Angeles is a little bit better, but I do like the architecture. It's quite historic. Unless the lounge is pretty good, I'd rather spend my time walking around the airport, getting in some steps and being a little bit healthier. Naturally, my time was filled up having a look around at the different types of aircraft. American Airlines has a huge fleet of planes at Charlotte and uses CRJ-9s and E145 for local routes to places I've never heard of. And that is far too much plane spotting. Need to get to the gate. There are a few interesting distractions on the way. LAX can feel quite generic as an airport, but Charlotte has themes of being in North Carolina. This is a pretty long route, but it's worth mentioning that first class can be as much as 4 times the cost of economy, so you really have to wonder if it's worth it for a 5-hour flight, especially when lounge access is not included. But in the interest of a review, it makes a nice change over those tight economy seats, and I get to board in Group 1. When choosing a seat, there are 2 different variants. The first is the Saffron Concept D, as seen here, with its very odd backwards-forwards design. The second, which we flew to Seattle, is far superior, and made by Collins Aerospace and called the Super Diamond C. Short of calling American Airlines, it's impossible to tell the difference online. As a result, the best seats to pick are the ones facing the windows in rows 2, 4, 8, and my seat 10A. You can probably tell from the layout why this is considered a slightly problematic seat, because while I'm facing forwards, the one in front is facing back, away from the window, and really you want to see the window. Just before takeoff, I'm offered a welcome drink. I'm feeling a little bit dehydrated, so I choose a very nice glass of chilled water, with some pretty cool views of historic planes in the distance that I know nothing about. If you know anything about them, please let us know below. time for a seat talk. At risk of being labelled a moaner, this is my last point about the odd design layout. The seats aren't staggered, so the person across from you is effectively pointing towards you, which isn't great. Like most business class products, the footwell is a little pinched, but at 5'9" or 175 centimeters in height, I found it more than comfortable. The in-flight entertainment screen is a little bit on the far side, but there's a handy latch nearby to release it, sporting a very reasonably sized 15.4-inch HD display. If you haven't seen it already, we've already covered the content that's available on the economy's portion of the review, so feel free to skip back and check that out. The Saffron DC is pretty good, and there are a lot of little features, with the tray table hidden in the left hand side, an aesthetically pleasing LED reading light, and the side control to adjust the seat's position. There's even some handy buttons which are easy to reach when you're in the bed mode. All refreshed and tray table deployed, I could have had a glass of wine, but I fancy something a little bit different. Dr. Pepper and a bowl of mixed nuts. I don't remember there being a menu, so as I enjoy my drink and entertain myself with the comedy film Zoolander, the very lovely and bubbly member of cabin crew, who also says my accent is exotic, has offered me the roast chicken. The chicken comes with green bean sprouts, boiled potatoes and a tomato-based sauce on the side, with a mixed sun-dried tomato salad. It's pretty good for a flight that's just under 5 hours, but personally I'm not a fan of sweet corn. With a second drink serving of a Sauvignon Blanc, which was light and slightly fruity. The skies turned a pretty pink as we pass over New Mexico, with dessert finished off with a dulce de leche Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and some wonderful banter with Harriet the cabin crew. She genuinely loves her job and enjoys chatting to passengers. It's always a pain in the backside filming yourself in the flat mode, but I'm happy to report that it was very comfortable, and I love whoever chose the blue-purple lighting, which mimics the night sky. Somewhere over Arizona, I left just enough time to visit the onboard bathroom, which is wise because I have a wait between 0 and 30 minutes for my shuttle bus at LAX back to the hotel. American Airlines is a good example of where someone high up said toilets don't have to be boring, and the hints of vinyl wood really made the space that little bit less plastic.
To prepare for landing, please close your tray table and put away carry-on items.
This has happened twice now, where the sunrise creates a natural golden spellbinding view leaving Birmingham, and I always sit on the wrong side. So today's view was a wonderful way to end the trip. It's worth saying that despite being exhausted, that was a wonderful experience, from an airline that most people don't tend to rave about. And I even got to see Anna's special Boeing 787 Star Wars livery. So I'm here at the Westin, which is where I've been staying for my stay in Los Angeles. The flight yesterday was really good, at least on the return. I'm not the biggest fan of American Airlines economy product because they've densified it, like a lot of airlines have, to 343, and that makes for a very tight seat. At 17 inches in width and 30 inches, I think it is, in pitch, that's very tight. I mean, when you have your arms down by your sides, you're sort of touching the person next to you in the armrest, and you can't not because there's just not enough room. Particularly on the way back, Harriet was brilliant. She was so personable. And she genuinely took an interest. Like, it's the first time ever that I've been asked during the meal service how the meal is, am I enjoying it, and is there anything they can do? And I've only ever had that before in a restaurant. As for the seat, I got lucky with seat 10. There wasn't many left when I booked it, but it was a very enjoyable flight, and I'm so pleased I did it. Thank you for watching.